It's Wednesday, December 4. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang says the government is working towards the development of a national cyber policy in 2020 to further protect citizens from the evolving threat of cybercrime. Speaking at a cybersecurity and cybercrime workshop for Latin America and the Caribbean at the Hilton Resort and Spa in St. James on Tuesday, the minister said that his ministry is working to ensure that the entire government service has a reliable and robust cyber platform, and this is being accomplished through the National Cybersecurity Strategy and the commendable work of agencies such as Gov't Jamaica. He said the new National Identification System NIDS bill will further strengthen Jamaica's cybersecurity framework. He further argued that data protection is critical to the security infrastructure of any governance system, noting that for this reason, the government has sought to address in earnest the finalization of the Data Protection Bill. The opposition staged a walkout in the House of Representatives. The event that led to this started when opposition member of Parliament for Central Manchester, Peter Bunting, posed questions to House Leader and Acting Education Minister Karl Samuda. The questions concerned allegations of sexual harassment by a board member at the Edna Manley College for the Visual and Performing Arts.
In a committee of this House, the PAAC raised the issue of a director of Edna Manley, an appointed director, who has been suspended from TPDCO on more than one occasion for sexual harassment. And the minister has conducted a due diligence and has not investigated this matter.
Mr. Samuda gave this response.
As for the person of whom you speak, who has been, it is alleged, engaged in sexual harassment in another organization, my information is that that person is still engaged in that other organization primarily because no evidence has been brought to show where he is guilty. But if you are inviting me to influence the board in any way, based on anecdotes provided by some little sus in a corner, you won't get it from me.
Incensed by these utterances from the House Leader, the opposition counterpart, Dr. Morris Guy, asked the member to withdraw his comments.
But it reached a stage now where, right, motive is being ascribed to the member. So we need for the House Leader to withdraw.
However, Mr. Samuda refused to do so.
Categorically will not. And if you don't wish to hear me speaking here, then you follow your leader, take up your bags, and see what he is doing, heading for the door.
Mr. Speaker, it is most unfortunate that the House Leader has said that. It is most unfortunate. It is most unfortunate that you have said that, Carl. And we will abide by your suggestion.
Members. Dr. Gill, this
An estimated $3.84 billion is to be spent to create housing solutions in the East Portland communities of Norwich and Paisley Gardens. The announcement was made by Portland East Member of Parliament Anne-Marie Vaz, who said the National Land Agency and the National Housing Trust have identified 131 acres of land in both communities to develop 300 housing solutions. These include service lots, studios, and 2-bedroom houses.
I am pleased to announce today that based on discussions with the National Land Agency and the National Housing Trust, they have identified 131 acres of land at Norwich Paisley Gardens, opposite Case, to develop 300 housing solutions. including service lots, studios, and two-bedroom housing. The estimated pre-design cost is a whopping $3.84 billion. This, Mr. Speaker, is easily one of the largest investments in the history of East Portland.
The public is being reminded that the voter identification card renewal process is free of cost and will continue into next year. According to the Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, all electors, businesses and government agencies are also being reminded that current voter ID cards will be valid until 2020. Therefore, electors who have not yet renewed their ID cards may do so in the new year free of cost, while continuing to use the current ID card. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says there is much investment to be pumped into the country's music. He was one of the speakers at the Reggae Month 2020 launch.
So we want to first of all invest more in Reggae Month. And so the Ministry of Tourism, along with the Ministry of Entertainment, will put serious funding into Reggae Month from next year onward. But we're going to do something more than that. We're going to, through our entertainment network, provide a window at the Exim Bank for lending to investors in the building out of the reggae product. We're going to start with, first of all, $10 million available for building out the first major cultural product dubbed tourism reggae product.
Entertainment, Sport, Culture and Gender Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange says the sky is the limit for reggae music. On the practical side, she spoke of an insurance scheme for musicians.
Another milestone or another introduction or initiative that we hope to introduce next year is that we will be partnering with Jaria, Java, and the JFM in establishing an insurance fund for musicians and artists. You know, we have the Athletes Insurance Fund, and it has worked well for our athletes. And so we want to establish a similar fund. And Minister, I'm going to knock on your door. We want to establish a similar fund for our artists, cover life, health, maternity, and pension. And the pension program that has been introduced by Minister Bartlett, we're already in discussion to ensure that the industry also benefits from the pension plan.
The Reggae Month launch was held at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel on Tuesday. The Boxing Board of Jamaica, National Youth Orchestra of Jamaica, Peace Management Initiative, Institute of Law and Economics, and Advocates for Change have all been offered 5 grants as local organizations to advance gender equality, peace, and security in the communities they serve across the island. The offer comes from the High Commission of Canada in Jamaica. The Boxing Board will use the funds to teach boxing skills to boys, girls, and young men and young women through the Gloves for Over Guns initiatives. The National Youth Orchestra is to use the funds to establish a music center for girls in Kingston and St. Andrew. And the Peace Management Initiative will use the funds to build the capacity of women from St. Catherine to be anti-violence advocates through the Mothers Against Gun Violence initiative. Jamaica was re-elected to serve on the Council of the International Maritime Organization, IMO, at the 31st session of the IMO's General Assembly, held at its London headquarters on November 29. Jamaica, which was returned for a second successive term, will serve alongside the Bahamas as the 2 Caribbean countries on the IMO Council for the 2020-2021 biennium. Minister of Transport and Mining Robert Montague, who is leading the delegation for the first time, said that Jamaica's re-election to Category C of the powerful IMO Council solidifies Jamaica's place at the heart of the international maritime legislature. Jamaica has been a member of the IMO since 1976 and was first elected to the council in 2007. The United States Department of Homeland Security plans to propose that all travelers, including American citizens, be photographed as they enter or leave the country as part of an identification system using facial recognition technology. The Department of Homeland Security says it expects to publish a proposal rule next July. Officials did not respond to requests for more details. The US dollar is being traded at $135.07, down by 40 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. The Canadian dollar is being traded at $100.92, down from $102.32, while the British pound sterling is being traded at $172.97, down from $173.78. In regional news, the High Court in Dominica says it has no jurisdiction to postpone the general elections. A group of Dominicans had made an application that the polls be pushed to February 2020. CMC's Peter Richards reports.
Justice Bernie Stevenson agreed with the arguments put forward by the lawyers representing President Charles Savre and the Electoral Commission that the only way forward for the petitioners would be through an election petition and only after the elections are held. The judge agreed that since an election writ had been issued, the election process had started, and that while the applicants may have legitimate claims, they cannot be entertained at this time. Justice Stevenson said that the matter then could be properly addressed by the way of a petition, noting that to rule otherwise is to ask the court to predict the outcome of the election. The petitioners, including the president of the Concerned Citizens Movement, Loftus Jura, had asked the court to issue an interim injunction restraining the parties concerned from holding the elections on December 6 or on any other date prior to February 5, 2020, unless the procedures are fully put in place to hold the elections. Apart from President Savre and the Electoral Commission, they had also named the Chief Elections Officer, the Cabinet of Dominica, the Attorney General, and the state-owned DBS Radio as the respondents. Attorney Lennox Lawrence, who appeared on behalf of President Savre, told reporters that the applicants had sought to prevent the elections from taking place on Friday.
They had sought to injunct the holding of the elections. But under our election law, it is very clear, not only in Dominica, in Guyana, in other parts of the Commonwealth, that once the head of state, being in our case the president, issues the writ for the holding of elections, the election process starts. And the only way that the court can intervene would be by a petition which is filed in accordance with law. So one could not approach the court to get an injunction or an interim remedy to stop the holding of elections. This is not the law in the Commonwealth. So this is not peculiar to Dominica. So what the court has done is applied the law as applies in a number of Commonwealth jurisdictions, and to hold that the only way that the applicants can have a remedy is to proceed according to law and to file a petition after the results have been declared.
The attorney representing the petitioner, Cara Shillingford, told the High Court that she would be appealing the matter. But attorney Heather Harris, representing the Electoral Commission, was not surprised.
No, I'm not surprised by anything nowadays. So I'm not surprised, but the law is not on their side.
And Lawrence said he expects the matter to reach the Trinidad-based Caribbean Court of Justice, the island's highest court.
The applicants have indicated they would appeal. That's their right. We will be at the appeal, we'll argue the appeal, and I'm sure that the court will follow established and well-settled law, that the only way that an election can be challenged is by way of election petition. Because the law is clear that the election jurisdiction of the court is a special parliamentary jurisdiction. There is no common law jurisdiction. here to grant the remedies that the applicants are asking for. And what is also clear, and the judge also applied the law, that the right to vote is a special statutory right, is not one of the fundamental rights in the Constitution. So there is no breach of a fundamental right on the part of Chapter 1 of the Constitution. So one has to proceed not by way of a fundamental rights application, but according to the election law, that jurisdiction of the court.
Justice Stevenson, who gave an oral ruling, said she would be providing a written judgment before the matter makes its way through the appeals process. From Roseau in Dominica, I am Peter Richards for CMC News.
In sports, Reggae Girlz head coach Hugh Menzies has quit his job after a lengthy dispute with the Jamaica Football Federation. Menzies told the Gleaner on Tuesday that he had grown weary of the JFF ignoring his request for an update on his future with the team following the expiration of his contract in August, as well as their failure to reimburse him for personal funds used during the team's successful 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup qualification campaign, in addition to unpaid salaries. Menzies led the Jamaicans to their first ever appearance at the FIFA Women's World Cup in France last summer. Jamaican sprinter Yohan Blake has criticized World Athletics chief Sebastian Coe for dropping several track and field disciplines, such as the 200 meters, from next year's Diamond League. The International Association of Athletics Association dropped the 200 meters, 3,000 meters steeplechase, triple jump, and discus from its list of core disciplines at Diamond League meetings in 2020. Speaking at a promotional event in Mumbai on Monday, Blake is quoted saying, "If he can take away the 200 and triple jump, I don't know if he is trying to build it or trying to kill athletics." End quote. It said the aim was to reduce the length of the Diamond League meetings to fit a 90-minute international broadcast window. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thanks so much for watching.